So in my horror, I start investigating the rest of the tiles on the bathroom floor until I'm sitting there on the bathroom floor at 1 in the morning looking like this. Because not a single one of them was glued down. They're all just sitting loose on the floor. Hey guys, it's Nicole. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be telling all of you of the 2-year-long saga that was my very first apartment and the reason why I now have residential trust issues. I have notes on my iPad because I absolutely cannot do this in chronological order and not forget anything without having notes. So if you see me looking down, that's why. And I'm just going to try to get straight into it because this is going to take 15 years. I have no idea how long this video is going to be. I might break it up into parts, but like, I don't know, we'll see. But make sure you stick around until the end because I will be including the song that I wrote about this whole experience. So yeah, I ended up deciding to split the video up into parts because the whole thing is 40 minutes long total. So this is part 1. I'm still going to include the song at the end of both of the videos, and part 2 will be up next week on Sunday if you guys find yourself wanting to find out more. Okay, so the story starts with my best friend from high school and we were going to the same college. So we decided we wanted to live together, but we did not want to be in a dorm because I stay up until 7 in the morning and she watches TV all the time. We would have killed each other, etc. So we found out about on-campus apartments, and the layout of this apartment was we each had our own bedroom, and then there was a living room, a kitchen, a bathroom we had to share, and then we had our washer and dryer in the unit. So it was an on-campus housing type of thing, just like a dorm where you only are there for 10 months out of the year. You have all of your utilities included, it's furnished, you get a CM, which is like an RA, the day we moved in. So initially when we got to the apartment, we really liked it. Like, it was really spacious. I had a walk-in closet, we had a balcony, and it was really nice to be out of our parents' houses for the very first time in our lives. However, the bathtub was absolutely disgusting. I had to scrub it for I think 45 minutes because it looked like somebody washed their mud-encrusted Saint Bernard in it. It was horrible. And then in my bedroom, instead of having one bed, like a normal bedroom, I had 2 twin-sized beds instead of one full-size bed. One of them was covered in stains and probably bugs, so my mom took it upon herself to throw it into the breezeway like strong, independent Russian woman she is. And then shortly after that, the breezeway ended up just absolutely filling up with these twin-size mattresses, because I guess I wasn't the only one with 2 nasty beds in my room. And I'd like to say I started a revolution my first day of college. I don't know. So eventually these 2 twin-sized beds ended up being replaced by a normal full-size bed. And it was absolutely god-awful. It was a tiny 2-inch mattress that sat on top of a frame that had 3 rods going down the length of the bed, and since it was only a 2-inch thick mattress, you could feel those rods pressing into your back when you slept. So my mom ended up buying me this 6-inch mattress pad that actually just served as my normal mattress, like on top of the stupid little 2-inch like playmat. However, I consider myself lucky because Jessie's bed eventually ended up exploding underneath her. I think she was on it, but I'm not completely sure. Her bed frame was literally just a square, like a picture frame, and then it had the box spring just sitting on those thin little edges of the frame. The middle was just this huge empty hole. So if it shifted while you were on it, down you go. So the very first day we moved in, I had my mom come and help me and my boyfriend. And my boyfriend ended up locking Jessie out of her bedroom. How? If he doesn't have the keys, how can he lock her out of her bedroom? Our bedroom doors weren't lockable with our bedroom keys. You could only unlock your bedroom door with your key. Sometimes. You could never lock it. Why would it be that easy? You had to be on the bedroom side of the door, and you had to push this little button into the handle. No key involved. Sound confusing enough? It gets worse. When pushing the button into the handle, if you turned the button, it would constantly be locked, no matter if you unlocked it with the key or not. So basically, the university helper man who moved Jessie in before I got there because she got there before me, he pushed the button in and he turned it. So Dylan comes over, and what does he do? He shuts the door, which locks the door because he never pulled the button out of the handle. Dylan didn't purposefully lock the door. He just shut it. All he did was shut it. So Jessie calls the front desk community center place and she says, I'm locked out of my bedroom. She gives the building that we're in and the apartment number, and they say, oh, well, that apartment doesn't have bedroom keys. How was she locked out of her bedroom if there is no bedroom key? Eventually they figure it out, they give her a bedroom key, but this whole button popping in, turning, bop it, twist it, pull it, whatever, is still lost on us for at least a week just to understand our door handles. So what do I go and do at 6 p.m. as my mom is trying to drive back to my hometown with my boyfriend before this giant storm rolls in? I lock myself out of my bedroom. So my mom and I are running back and forth from this community center to my apartment because they keep giving us the keys to our front door. They still can't comprehend that we have bedroom locks. So because of this, my mom had to drive home in this crazy storm with Dylan falling asleep in the passenger seat holding the GPS while she's like having panic attacks behind the wheel because it's pouring and thundering that badly. Meanwhile, Jesse and I are at our new apartment. The power's flickering. We're trying to order a pizza. The pizza place loses power. I don't think we ever even got the pizza. This was our very first night moved out from our parents' houses, and the day was already so tense. The apartment already felt huge and spooky and kind of cursed already with all of these problems on literally day one. And I'm still not even touching the surface. I'm not gonna say scraping because I'm nowhere near it. This is the surface, this is me. It's even out of frame. That's how far away I am from the surface. So the next section here is the very first set of work orders. Our shower head was cracked, so they gave us a new one, and they installed it wrong because the majority of the water was coming out of the bathtub faucet when you tried to pull the thing to make the shower turn on. So I noticed this and I explained it to Jessie, and side note, she misunderstands it as when you turn the shower on, the water starts to come out of the sink. And she was like, no, I think we should leave it. Like that's like a cool party trick. So I call maintenance again, and they come and they make the water come out of the shower head instead of the faucet when you turn it on. And it was still weak, even with all of the water coming out of the shower head. It felt like our apartment was just pissing on us, like to add insult to injury. But this is the first time we realized that anytime anything in that apartment had to be replaced, it was going to be replaced with something that was worse than what we originally had. There was also a moldy mildew smell in the bathroom that I was noticing, and so I included that in that one big call of the first set of work orders. And so maintenance came for that. They didn't inspect for mold. No, they decided to clean out our bathroom fan when in reality, all they did was break it. And then lastly, the toilet was not attached to the ground, which meant that any time I went in there to pee in the middle of the night, very tired, it went something like... So after this whole set of work orders is completed, we have a worse shower head than we did before. The bathroom fan is now broken, but hey, I can pee in the middle of the night without waking up the entire building. So then we have things that begin happening concurrently because I'm calling in work orders. Some of them are getting completed, while others I kind of have to... And basically they're all happening at once. So one night I walk into the bathroom to have my little bath, and I step into the bathroom barefoot, and I lift my foot, and you know what's stuck to the bottom of my foot? A tile. So in my horror, I start investigating the rest of the tiles on the bathroom floor until I'm sitting there on the bathroom floor at 1 a.m. looking like this. Because not a single one of them was glued down. They're all just sitting loose on the floor. And then here is a Snapchat from that very fateful time. It came right off! So to fix the tile, here comes this whole team of these old backwoods men, and I'm in class, but Jessie is woken up by this. And their accents were so thick that Jessie was not hearing maintenance, maintenance at the door. She was hearing night pants, night pants. Like, can you imagine how thick someone's country accent has to be that you are not hearing them say maintenance, you are hearing what rhymes with night pants, which would be maintenance, maintenance. So they fixed the tile, and I'm still trying to get them to fix the bathroom fan that they broke, but the head in charge, Jack, doesn't believe me when I tell him it's broken now. I explain to him that it's broken, and he says, so basically what you're saying is whenever you take a shower, it's raining in here. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And he says to me, well, I don't know what to tell you, like it's working. Listen, I am not an aggressive girl. I've never been in a fight. It takes a lot for me to want to punch somebody, but this man made me feel like I was about to go literally get in a fight with him in the parking lot. And if you need a visual description to picture what he looks like, he kind of looks like Mo from the Three Stooges. Jessie and I actually called him Night Pants Mo until we found out his real name. I say real loosely because we'd only ever seen these names written down in very bad handwriting. So he wrote his name was Jack, but I don't know if it actually said Jack, so we're just gonna go with Jack. So many things start going wrong in this apartment that there was one week where we had maintenance in there every single business day. So everything begins breaking. So one of the things that breaks is our toilet because it does not stop flushing, and yet it doesn't flush at the same time. You can hear it constantly going in the background, but when you try to actually flush it, it's just doing this like really weak, constant flush. So it's kind of pulling things down, but not really. So I call maintenance and I explain all of this to them over the phone, and I get this woman at the desk. We're gonna call her Karen because I don't know her real name and because she is a Karen. She says to me, "So is your toilet clogged? Like, I don't understand what you mean. Like, is it clogged?" And she's like giving me this attitude, and I don't know why she wants intense details, and I tell her like, no, it's just not a strong enough flush. It's flushing, but just not strong enough. And she's like, "Well, what do you mean?" It took everything in me not to say, "A little pull down," but like, it's not gonna pull down your paper because it's a little too far away from it. And Jessie was watching me the whole time I was having this conversation on the phone, and it would have been such a power move to say this to her. So I put in this work order, and one night, it's a Friday night, Jessie's going out to dinner with our other friend. I wake up from a nap and I decide I'm going to drive home for the weekend. So I start packing and I hear a knock at the door, and I'm like, cool, maintenance is here to fix our toilet. I thought. So I answer the door and I let them in, and they go to the toilet and they start working on it. And so I leave with them working on the toilet. I arrive home to my parents' house and I get a text from Jessie after I had told her maintenance had come for the toilet, and she said, "Did you not let maintenance in?" And I don't think she was like trying to be sassy or anything, but like, we need to unite against the common enemy. Like, do you really think I would not let them in? Like, I've been trying to flush my for 3 days. And so I tell her, no, I let them in. Like, as I left, I was watching them work on it. And she goes, "Well, the toilet's still flushing. It's still broken." They came to work on it and they never fixed it. And they just left. And let me tell you, first of all, it was not just one maintenance man. Like, I think it was actually the only woman we'd ever seen on the maintenance team. It was her and another guy. They were coming as a duo. And they still left without fixing it. So we've still got this broken toilet. I come back after the weekend because, of course, you know, you can't call over the weekend. They didn't have any kind of online work order system where you could submit orders at any time. You had to specifically call them Monday through Friday, 8 or 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So the whole weekend goes by, the toilet's just still flushing. I think it was Monday or something. At 7 in the morning, I get up to pee. It's still just flushing, and I can hear it in my bedroom because I'm closest to the bathroom. And so I go in there and I lift the lid off the tank. I'm just like fighting with that, or like in there with my hands in there, like, "You're gonna stop flushing if it's the last thing I do." I go in there with no contacts, no pants, can't see anything. I didn't even turn the light on. I just started beating up the toilet from the inside out. The next thing that happened was the washing machine that caught on fire. So Jessie watched me put my comforter into the washing machine and wash it. So I don't know, it was like a monkey see, monkey do kind of thing. So she decides to put her comforter into the washing machine, even though hers is a lot bigger than mine. And I'm in class and I start getting these cryptic Snapchats of the washing machine looking like it's about to just stand up and walk away. Like, she's not doing good. I wish she still had the Snapchats. So the washing machine is shaking everywhere, trying to grow legs and run away, and Jessie's just Snapchatting it and laughing nervously in all of these snaps, and I'm getting them as I'm sitting in class. And I'm getting progressively more and more nervous. And I was right to get nervous, because while Jessie was seeing the washing machine shaking, what was really happening inside was a fire. So I get back from class, she shows me her comforter. It's got this giant black tear in it that is completely scorched. And she drags it over to me and she shoves her hand through the hole and she says, "It looks like a vagina." The next thing that broke was the air conditioner. So when winter came around, it started to get unbearably hot in this apartment, which really pissed Jessie and I off because we both like it at 65 degrees. Even if we didn't have the heater on, it would be... the temp would just be rising like crazy in the winter. And so we would try to turn the AC on and it did nothing. It would just spit hot air out of the vents. So we call maintenance and Jack comes again. And he comes when I'm in class or asleep or something. So Jessie lets him in and she explains to him how the AC is just not working. He walks over to the thermostat. He does this. They'll fix it. It did not fix it. They never fixed it. It was broken the entire time we were living there and is probably still broken right now. But the weird thing is, the AC would work when it was hot outside. So Jessie and I began opening our windows to stay cool, except the people under us wouldn't stop smoking on their balcony, which they were not allowed to do, and the CM told them multiple times that they need to stop, and they never did. So Jessie and I would dance Irish jigs together in the living room, on top of them. The window that fell out of the window. So one night I'm sitting in my bedroom and I hear this huge thud. And then I hear Jessie say very nervously, "Nicole, can you come here? And so I walk out into the living room and the window is just hanging out of the window, just holding on by our cheap blinds. I will insert a photo and a video if I can find it. So Jessie goes downstairs and she gets our CM and she brings her up and the CM forces the window back into place and says, yeah, like this happens sometimes. Like one time it happened in an apartment and the blinds did not catch the window, so it just shattered all over the floor. Enter Carl. So Carl comes over, a new maintenance man, and he shows up while Jessie is already in her bedroom. So she is hiding from him. I do not blame her. And I come home from class, so he sees me. I greet him, I see him fixing our living room window, and then I go into my bedroom. I eventually take a shower. I come out of my bedroom and I want to take a nap. And of course, Carl comes and he knocks on my bedroom door, and I answer and he wants me to come look at this fancy new window. I'm literally not wearing pants. I don't even have contacts in, so I can't see what he's showing me. He was just this very jolly, friendly man who took his job very seriously, but you know, at least he wasn't I wasn't like having visions of fighting him in the parking lot. So as all of these things are happening, meanwhile, our bathroom fan is still broken. So Jessie gets very fed up with this and I call maintenance again. Enter Randy number 1. So Randy was a pretty good guy. He was really tall and just very professional and like nice to us. So he shows up one day and he knocks on the door and I answer and he says to me, I'm here to fix the ceiling fan. And I go, bathroom fan? And so he says, oh well, I can fix that too. Keep in mind, Randy does not have any tools with him. He is here with his bare hands and his ambitions. And so I say, well, my roommate's in the shower right now, and he's like, I'll come back later. And this bathroom fan had been broken for so long that it took everything in me not to be like please don't go. Like, I mean, she's just gonna take 5 minutes. Like, I swear to God, like I can offer you some refreshments. Like, we've got cookies in the fridge. So Jessie gets out of the shower and I tell her what happened and she's pissed. So she writes this passive aggressive note. I'll insert it if I find it. And it says something like, try the tissue test, it doesn't work. And she leaves it on our bathroom door and we both go to class and maintenance comes while we're in class. We both got home at the same time that day and we go to the bathroom to check on our fan because we knew they had been there. And the bathroom fan is finally fixed and working and there is a tissue stuck to it as it's running. Let me fix it. These are the kind of people these men were. So the tile then breaks again. It's coming off, stuck to our bare feet, and I call maintenance again over the tile. And we wait a few days and they're just not showing up. So I call them again. And I say, like, maintenance is still not coming for our tile. It's breaking off. It's like getting worse. Who's on the other end of the phone? Karen. And she says, well, tile breaking is not a life-threatening emergency. So you're gonna have to wait for maintenance to fill the other work orders on campus before they can get to you. First of all, the first time when we called about the tile, we were told it needs to be fixed very quickly because it is broken tile, sharp edges on the floor where we walk barefoot. We get out of the shower without shoes on, so we have to step on the tile that is breaking off under our feet. And second of all, if I had a life-threatening maintenance order, emergency, whatever, do you really think I would be putting it in the hands of these men? So this time Carl comes again to come fix the tile and he sees Jessie this time instead of me. And he had never seen Jessie before, so he comes and he fixes the tile. And as he's fixing it, he says to Jessie, this has been replaced before. And then he gets up and he looks around and he says, hey, I've been here before. God, okay, so now it's time to tell the story of my ceiling fan breaking. Now, the actual breaking of the ceiling fan was not this apartment's fault. Jessie, Dylan, and I were in my bedroom one night and we were all having this like movie night on my TV, and Jessie brought in my Papasan chair from the living room and she sat in it while Dylan and I like laid on the bed. And so the movie's over and Jessie's going to move the Papasan chair back into the living room and Dylan and I are in the kitchen. She wasn't drunk, first of all, let me just say this now. So I walk back into my bedroom thinking Jessie's like about to move the chair back into the living room and she's got the chair on top of her head. She just has it like with the butt side headwards. The part you sit in, she's got it like on top of her head and the legs are like sticking up towards the ceiling and she's just got it on her head and she's not like saying anything. And I walk over to her and I'm like, okay, like let's take this off your head. And so I'm grabbing onto the legs and I'm lifting and she's grabbing onto the sides of the chair and she's lifting it. We're lifting it straight up as she stands at full height. And we lift the chair right into my spinning ceiling fan and it gets mad up, let me tell you. I had blades that were bent that Dylan and I were like bending back into place, and it was immediately off balance, like clicking like crazy. God, I'm exposing all of us right now. So Dylan and I are doing what we can to bend the blades back into place. I think there's some pictures Jesse took of us that say we're the maintenance now. So we're trying to fix it as best as we can, and I call maintenance and I tell them that I smacked my arms into the ceiling fan while I was getting dressed, which I have done before. So one day maintenance comes and they fix the ceiling fan, and the fan's not fixed at all. But then I walk into the bathroom and all they did was leave the toilet seat up. They came into our apartment, they didn't fix what I asked to fix, and then they peed in our toilet and left the seat up. They just left the toilet seat open! So I called them again, and I get this nice British lady. It was either her or Karen that I would usually get, and this nice British lady is telling me like, oh, okay, sorry, they didn't like fix it, so we'll just send them back tomorrow. Enter Randy number 2. So I get home one day from class, and I walk up to our apartment, and our front door is open, and so I walk in, and I walk up to my bedroom, and my bedroom door is open too, and the light is on, and I walk in, and there is a man on a ladder who I've never seen before, working on my fan, but the fan is not there. Like, it's gone. He's like working on a hole in the ceiling, and I say, oh, hi, like, you're fixing my ceiling fan? And he's on this ladder and his back is turned to me and he's not saying anything to me until eventually he turns around and he does this. He just turns around and deep sighs at me as I'm trying to ask him questions and ask how it's going. So I take this as a sign to leave him the hell alone. And I notice that he's got one of my recently washed towels draped across the bed to catch plaster that's falling from the ceiling. Even though I laid out a whole bunch of surgical drapes from my mother's work for him to make the mess on those. He takes one of my towels, I don't know where he got it, and he lays it down on my bed to catch the plaster from the ceiling. So I go into the living room and I sit down on our couch and I'm sitting on my phone just like scrolling through whatever, like texting my mom, or I think I was texting Jessie actually. I was telling her exactly what was going on at our home. So Randy eventually comes out of my bedroom and he goes to the kitchen table and he starts unpacking this other fan, and he's saying like, oh, I spent all day yesterday trying to fix this and it just will not balance, so I'm just gonna replace the fan. And he pulls out only 3 fan blades and 1 light bulb, and he's trying to put the fixture together before he hooks it onto the ceiling, and I'm like, that's it? And he goes, well, you know, insert name of my college, always getting cheaper. I was like, how am I gonna be able to see with 1 light bulb? And I'm going to insert pictures or video or anything I have of what this looked like, because I literally was living in a pantry. It was like those little cellars with the 1 light. You just, and you go and you look for your canned greens. So Randy is still trying to set up the ceiling fan fixture. I'm scrolling through my feed or texting Jessie or whatever I'm doing on my phone, and suddenly he's very talkative, even though he just like deep sighed at me when I asked him a question. So he looks up from what he's doing and he goes, hey, where'd you get that cell phone at? How much was it? Oh, I don't know, like my mom got it for me a few years ago. Have you seen them touchscreen cell phones at Walmart? Yeah, I've seen some touchscreen cell phones at Walmart. They're so much cheaper than those stupid iPhones you got there, and you can get on a plan and pay so much less than what you're paying on that iPhone. Like, this man is trying to like sell me a touchscreen cell phone from Walmart as if he's getting commission. And he said, I got this flip phone right now and I'm trying to upgrade to one of them touchscreen cell phones from Walmart. I don't need one of them fancy iPhones. I don't want to do any of that Facebook and stuff. All I want to do is be able to Google easier and play slots. I'm like, this is fascinating. And we had a goldfish in a tank sitting on the end of our kitchen table, and he looks at it and he goes, do you guys got a dead fish in there? No. You see, he's moving, and he wasn't just moving. Like, he was, because I usually feed him when I get home, and like, he was like ready for food. Like, he was not dead. And so he's talking to me, and it's taking everything in me not to laugh at him. And so he's looking at our fish and he gets inspired to bring up a conversation about how when I was 6 years old, I spent the summer catching turtles on my uncle's farm, and I caught 282 of them one summer. And this man was so weird. He was hands down the weirdest maintenance man there. Anytime he walked past me, he smelled like rust, which is very interesting because how does your body emanate the smell of rust? Like, are you a forgotten bicycle? I think that's about it with Randy. He replaces the fan with the cheaper one and he leaves, and I eventually have my dad come over and switch out the living room ceiling fan light bulb fixture with my bedrooms because I straight up cannot see, because I was not about to call maintenance and be like, hey, can you like switch out my ceiling fans? Because then we would end up with none. We would just have nothing. So yeah, this concludes part 1 of my apartment from hell story time. If part 2 is up by the time you're watching this, I'm going to include it in the little card right here so that you can go to that now. But if not, then you can watch the song that I wrote about this whole ordeal. So this is a little song I wrote called Maintenance. And actually, if you want to know exactly where in the story that I wrote this song, it was right after finding all of the water in the dryer. Keep an eye out for part 2 if you want to hear how that happened. And I was getting very fed up with it, and I walked up to Jessie and I screamed at her, "The washing machine caught on fire. There's water in the dryer." And then that is how the very first line of the chorus was born. It wrote itself, basically. So here is Maintenance. Well, I was starting freshman year, so glad to finally be here, until green water slowly filled the room with an impending sense of doom. The washing machine caught on fire, there's water in the dryer, and with every step I take, another tile's sure to break. The toilet's coming off the ground, the window pane has fallen down. Another call, another day, another maintenance is headed my way. First name basis with all the guys, Randy, Jack, and Carl came to analyze. They're here about 5 days a week, but things continue looking bleak. The washing machine caught on fire, there's water in the dryer, and with every step I take, another tile's sure to break. The toilet's coming off the ground, the window pane has fallen down. Another call, another day, another maintenance is headed my way. I thought not living in a dorm would be my favorite part, but little did I know it's called an apartment because it falls apart. The washing machine caught on fire, there's water in the dryer, and with every step I take, another tile's sure to break. The toilet's coming off the ground, the window pane has fallen down. Another call, another day, another maintenance is headed my way. Jessie was the first person I showed that song to, and she was laughing her ass off. When I first wrote it, I couldn't get through it without laughing. This is my very first story time on my channel, and I've always wanted to make like a video like this ever since this happened to me. If you want more story times, please comment down below, and also comment like your apartment experiences, if bad things have happened to you like this. If you're watching this right after this video came out, the next part will be up on Sunday, which will be May 24th. So I will see all of you guys then. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up and hit subscribe so that you can be notified when part 2 comes out, and I hope you all have an amazing day. Bye. I know that we would run away to an island in the sun where the palm trees so